in front of millions of stunned Americans. Donald Trump strutted across the stage like a heavyweight champion, ready to knock out Barack Obama once and for all, hurling vicious personal attacks about family, fatherhood, and integrity with that signature smug grin. But the second Obama stood up and calmly delivered one devastating sentence, the cocky king of bluster froze in horror as his entire empire of bravado came crashing down in the most brutal, jaw-dropping takedown live television had ever witnessed. The bright lights of the massive New York studio burned down on a packed auditorium, every seat filled with politicians, journalists, and everyday Americans. This was no ordinary TV show. It was a live primetime special called America First: The Final Reckoning. A rare, no-holds-barred face-to-face between Donald Trump and Barack Obama. The roar hit Donald Trump the second he stepped onto the stage. People were already on their feet, some cheering, some shouting, the energy thick and electric. Trump walked out with that famous smirk, waving like he owned the place. The crowd noise swelled even louder. He took his spot at the podium, adjusted the mic, and looked straight across at Barack Obama, who sat calmly on the other side. Trump didn't waste a second. He leaned forward, smile wide but dangerous, and fired his first shot. "Barack, let's get one thing straight tonight," he said, his voice booming through the speakers. The audience quieted just enough to hear every word. "You've been talking for years like you were some great leader. But I want you to prove it right here, right now. Prove to the American people that you were ever a real leader." The room erupted. Some clapped, some gasped, and the tension snapped into place like a live wire. Trump gripped the podium tight, his knuckles turning white as he leaned forward and launched straight into the attack. He tore into Obama's old policies without holding back, his voice booming through the packed auditorium. "You handed over American jobs like they were candy, Barack. You let China rip us off for years while our factories closed down. Your health care plan was a disaster that skyrocketed premiums and left people worse off. And don't get me started on that Iran deal, the worst negotiation in history." Each word came out sharper than the last, like punches thrown one after another. The crowd reacted immediately. Some jumped to their feet, cheering wildly, yelling "Trump, Trump," while others sat frozen, exchanging uneasy glances. The energy in the room was electric and unstable, like a powder keg ready to blow. He didn't stop there. Trump smoothly shifted from policy to something much more personal, his eyes narrowing as he stared across the stage. "You stood up there talking about family values for 8 years. But what kind of father were you really? Always jetting off, making big speeches while your own house had problems. America deserves better than that kind of example." The personal shots landed hard. Whispers rippled through the audience. A group of supporters near the front clapped and shouted approval, but further back, rows of people went completely quiet, some shaking their heads. The tension thickened fast. You could almost feel the discomfort spreading. Part excitement, part shock at how far he was willing to go on live television. Trump fed off the mixed reaction and doubled down. His face grew redder, voice rising louder with every sentence. He brought up the rumors about Barron again, using them to build momentum. "They came after my son, my youngest boy, spreading disgusting lies about him for weeks. Fake stories, nasty whispers trying to hurt my family. Well, I'm not letting that slide." His volume kept climbing, words pouring out faster, more aggressive. "If they want to play that game, fine. But let's talk about your family record instead." The repetition worked like fuel. Every time he mentioned Barron, his tone got angrier, feeding the crowd's noise. Shouts of support mixed with nervous murmurs, creating a chaotic wave of sound that filled the hall. Then came the moment that pushed everything over the edge. Trump thrust his arm out and pointed directly at Obama, finger locked like a gun. His eyes blazed with intensity as he roared into the microphone. "Family is supposed to be sacred. It's the most important thing we have. But you turned yours into a public joke." The words exploded across the auditorium. Gasps broke out everywhere. Some people stood up yelling. Others sat stunned in silence. The impact was immediate and brutal. Trump held the pose, chest heaving, daring anyone to challenge him. For a few long seconds, the entire room seemed to vibrate with the force of that accusation. Cameras zoomed in tight on his face, capturing every bit of raw anger and triumph. Through it all, Obama stayed seated. He barely moved. No angry glare, no sharp comeback, just a small, calm smile tugging at the corners of his mouth. Then Obama slowly rose from his chair, smooth and unhurried, like he had all the time in the world. The spotlight caught him as he stepped forward, his posture straight but relaxed. When he spoke, his voice came out low, deep, and completely calm. No anger, no rush, just steady power that cut through the lingering noise from Trump's outburst. Every eye in the auditorium locked onto him. The contrast was instant and jarring. After Trump's red-faced shouting, Obama's quiet tone felt like a cold splash of water. He looked straight at Trump, no notes in his hand, and delivered the line that stopped the entire night cold. "You crossed boundaries with your daughter when she was 23. You should be ashamed." The words landed like a hammer. For one long second, the whole auditorium went dead silent. No clapping, no gasping, just pure, stunned quiet. Trump's confident smirk vanished instantly, his face drained of color, turning pale as the blood left it. His mouth opened, but nothing came out at first. The cocky energy he'd carried all night evaporated in a heartbeat. Cameras caught every detail. The widened eyes, the sudden tightness in his jaw, the way his shoulders dropped just a fraction. Trump snapped back fast, trying to regain control. He lunged toward his mic, face twisting in fury. "That's a lie," he bellowed, voice cracking with rage. "You can't say that. Turn my mic up." He kept shouting, waving his arms wildly, but his microphone suddenly dropped in volume. The technicians had cut it down on emergency orders. His loud roars came out thin and muffled, like someone yelling from another room. Trump's eyes bulged in disbelief as he realized what was happening. He slammed the podium with his fist, still trying to overpower the moment, but the reduced sound only made him look more desperate. The silence broke. Whispers exploded across the crowd like wildfire. People leaned toward each other, mouths open, repeating the words in shock. Did he just say that? About his own daughter? Some audience members stood up slowly, hands over their mouths, staring at the stage. Others remained frozen in their seats, the weight of the accusation sinking in deeper with every passing second. The energy in the room had completely flipped. What started as Trump's show now felt like it was spinning out of his control. Obama stayed standing, calm as ever, letting the single sentence do its work. No extra explanation, no raised voice. Just that one devastating line hanging in the air, impossible to ignore and impossible to take back. Trump kept gesturing wildly, his mouth moving, but with the mic barely audible, it only added to the chaos. Obama didn't rush. He reached down beside his chair, picked up a plain folder, and opened it slowly under the bright stage lights. The audience leaned forward as he held up the first document. "This is a medical report from Dr. Alan Kessler," Obama said in that same calm, steady voice. "Dated June 12, 2017, at a private clinic in Manhattan. The doctor who treated your daughter that night used to work directly for the Trump organization. He documented everything." Obama laid the paper flat on the table so the cameras could zoom in close. Dates, times, signatures, and specific notes about the incident were all there in black and white. The room grew even quieter as people tried to read the details flashing on the big screens. Before Trump could recover, Obama nodded toward the large monitor behind him. "I'd like to bring forward someone who was there." A live video feed suddenly filled the screen. A woman in her mid-30s appeared, looking nervous but determined. "My name is Sarah Klein," she said clearly. "I worked as Ivanka's personal assistant from 2015 to 2018. I was in the hotel suite that night in 2017 when she was 23. I saw what happened. I heard the conversation. I helped clean up afterward." She described the evening in quiet, painful detail. The closed door, the raised voices, the way Ivanka looked when she finally came out. Gasps and murmurs spread through the auditorium as her words hit home. Trump's face twisted in disbelief. "That's bullshit!" Trump exploded. His voice cracked as he screamed at the top of his lungs. "She's lying! This is all fake!" He stepped out from behind his podium and started marching straight toward Obama's table, fists clenched, face bright red. Security guards immediately rushed in from both sides, grabbing his arms and holding him back. Trump struggled against them, still shouting. The cameras zoomed in tight on his face, eyes wide with panic, sweat pouring down his forehead, mouth open in a desperate snarl. For the first time all night, he looked completely out of control. The audience erupted in a wave of shock, some standing up, others frozen in their seats. Obama stayed calm and continued. He pulled out more papers from the folder and held them up. "These are screenshots of text messages from your own phone records that night. And this," he said, sliding another document forward, "is a $250,000 payment made 2 weeks later to the clinic for consultation services. The paper trail is clear." The screens displayed the evidence clearly. Timestamps, numbers, bank references. The crowd's whispering grew louder as the proof stacked up. Trump yanked himself free from security for a second and pointed wildly at Obama. "You want evidence? Here's mine." He grabbed a sheet from his own folder and waved it around. "This report shows you were involved in covering up your own family scandals back in 2015. I have sources too." His voice was shaking now, trying to flip the script. Obama looked at the paper for half a second, then shook his head. "That document was created last month by a known fake news website. The font doesn't even match official records and the signature is clearly forged. We already checked it. It's fake, Donald, just like the rest of your counterattack." The words landed hard. Trump stood there, mouth open, the paper trembling in his hand. Then Trump shook off the security guards and stormed back behind his podium, breathing hard like a cornered animal. He gripped the edges tight, trying to claw back control. "You want to talk family?" he snarled, his voice raw and furious. "Let's talk about yours, Barack. Melania's been through enough with all the rumors you and your people started. And your kids? Don't act like you were some perfect dad while you were busy playing golf and chasing cameras." He kept hammering, going lower and meaner, throwing wild accusations about Obama's marriage and parenting. For a moment, it seemed like he might swing the crowd back. Some of his hardcore supporters clapped and shouted in approval, but the rest of the room stayed cold, the energy turning against him fast. Obama didn't interrupt. He simply raised his hand toward the big screen again. "There's someone else who needs to speak." A new video feed came on. This time it was a well-known journalist, a woman who had interviewed Ivanka years ago. She looked straight into the camera and dropped new details that made the whole auditorium suck in a breath. "During that private meeting in 2017 when Ivanka was 23, I was waiting in the hallway. I heard raised voices. I saw her leave the room afterward, visibly upset, fixing her clothes. She asked me not to report it. I respected that at the time, but after what I've learned tonight, I can't stay silent anymore." The revelation hit like another bomb. Gasps turned into loud murmurs. People were shifting, whispering, some covering their mouths in disbelief. Trump completely lost it. His face turned deep red, veins bulging in his neck. This is rigged," he stuttered, words tumbling out messy and fast. "It's the deep state. They're all in on it. Fake news, fake witnesses, all of it." He pointed wildly at the cameras, then at Obama, his hands shaking. The stuttering got worse. Suddenly, his tone flipped from rage to desperation. "Folks, please, don't believe this garbage. They're trying to destroy me. Don't let them do this to your president." He was practically begging the audience now, eyes wide and frantic, looking nothing like the confident man who had walked on stage. That's when the final blow landed. The big screens behind Obama lit up with a short, verified video clip. The audio was crystal clear. Trump's unmistakable voice talking to one of his longtime assistants. Just handle the Ivanka situation, okay? Make it go away. Pay whatever it takes, but keep it quiet. She was 23. She should have known better. The recording played loud and undeniable. The entire auditorium exploded. Boos and shouts erupted from every corner. "Shame!" people yelled. Some stood up pointing at the stage. Others sat in stunned silence as the weight of Trump's own words sank in. Trump stared at the screen, frozen, his mouth open but no sound coming out. The camera zoomed in on his panicked face, sweat dripping, eyes darting like he was trapped. Obama waited for the noise to settle just a little, then spoke in that same calm, powerful tone. "Truth doesn't need volume, it only needs courage." The words cut through the chaos like a knife. No shouting, no drama, just simple truth. Trump staggered back to his podium, sweat soaking through his shirt, and tried one last time to seize the night. "This is outrageous," he shouted, voice hoarse and cracking. "I'm not done here. I built this country back up while he—" The moderator's voice cut through firmly over the speakers. "Mr. Trump, your time is up. We have to respect the format and the audience's reaction." Trump's eyes widened in shock as the moderator kept talking, shutting him down live on national television. The crowd's mixed boos and cheers made it clear whose side the room had taken. Trump stood there frozen for a second, mouth open, looking completely blindsided. Then came the final hammer. Trump spun toward the main camera, pointing aggressively, his face twisted with fury. "I'm suing you, Obama. I'm suing everyone involved in this witch hunt. You'll pay for these lies." His voice rose to a desperate roar. Right as the words left his mouth, the giant screen behind Obama lit up again. A distinguished older man appeared, Michael Cohen's replacement, Trump's former personal lawyer. "I worked for Mr. Trump for years," the lawyer said calmly. "I personally handled the payments, the NDAs, and the cover-up involving Ivanka in 2017. Everything you saw tonight is accurate. I have the documents and the recordings to prove it." The confirmation hit like a knockout punch. Trump froze completely, staring at the screen, his pointing finger slowly dropping to his side. His face went blank, eyes wide with pure panic. For the first time all night, he had nothing left to say. Obama didn't say another word. He simply nodded once, turned, and walked off the stage in complete silence. The moment he disappeared behind the curtain, the entire auditorium erupted. Thunderous applause exploded through the hall, mixed with loud cheers and standing ovations. People were on their feet, clapping harder and harder, the sound rolling like waves. The contrast was brutal. Obama's quiet exit against the chaos Trump had left behind. Trump turned and stormed off the stage, security flanking him tightly. Backstage, his face burned bright red, sweat pouring down his forehead and neck. His tie was crooked, hair disheveled. "This is rigged," he muttered under his breath over and over. "Totally rigged. They set me up." Staffers kept their distance as he paced furiously, fists clenched, still whispering the same words like a broken record. The confident man who had walked in ready to dominate was gone. Later that night, Trump sat alone in the back of his armored SUV, the city lights flashing past the tinted windows. The car was dead quiet except for his phone exploding on the seat beside him, nonstop vibrations and ringing. Messages from his kids, frantic calls from lawyers, texts from allies asking what the hell just happened. He didn't pick it up. He just stared straight ahead, jaw tight, eyes distant. The weight of everything crashed down on him in the silence. The screen slowly faded to black with one simple line. One sentence changed everything.